My name is Holly, I'm a shopping addict, and I'm gonna speak to you a little bit about my shopping addiction. I was severely addicted and in a debt cycle with Afterpay for the last 6 years. This is me scrolling through all my orders behind me while I speak to you about this.
Y'all see that? Walmart adds buy now, pay later option as self-checkout.
And Expedia is on the list now. So you could do $1,000 vacation and pay for it $100 a month. I know people who will book a flight for tomorrow today, and now they don't have to pay it all in one day. They can choose it for 12 months.
Buy now, pay later services such as Affirm, Klarna, or Afterpay allow customers to buy an item and pay for it in installments. So the idea behind it is you buy an item, you pay only one portion of the installments, and it's typically paying for, then you pay over the course of 6 weeks. But then you get to live with the item immediately. Now, the way these companies promote this service is that you get to split your payments in 4 and you don't have to pay right away. At the same time, it costs no interest. Most of the time, they actually offer you free purchases to split that payment in 4. This has been a trap for a lot of people, and let's talk about the dangers of using buy now, pay later services.
Splitting your payments up in 4 really just makes so much sense financially. I was about to buy this sweater and this dress from Shein for $40, right? And I thought, why pay $40 on 2 items when I can add more shit to my cart and then split it up in 4? And now I'm paying $37 every 2 weeks for a bunch of other items. That just makes sense. If you're not doing that, you're crazy.
Listen, it is not girl maths if you buy something and you're only paying 1/4 of the cost of that item there and then. You thinking that, okay, this item goes for $100 and you only have to pay $25 right now. It is girl math because I'm spending only $25. No, it is not girl math. You're only paying $25 right now. The rest of the balance of $75 you would have to pay within the next few weeks. Now, the trap is that because you're only paying $25 right now, you tend to spend more. Retailers love buy now, pay later services because it entices customers to buy more items. So let's say, for example, you were just supposed to buy one thing, but because you're only paying 1/4 of the cost, it makes you feel like you have actually not spent. So you are motivated to want to buy more. And that is why a lot of brands are now incorporating pay later services in their businesses. Think about it like retailers, online clothing store, fashion brand, beauty brands. All of these retailers right now offers pay later services. So if you go online, you try to buy even one top that you could buy for just $30, they'll give you an option to pay later, like buy now and pay later, and you pay in 4 installments, which to me just doesn't make any sense because the idea is you continue to buy and buy more things. Let me tell you, it is a trap. Don't fall for it. It is not girl math. Almost all the stores right now are offering it. Even Amazon, Apple, all the stores are accepting Afterpay. It is only a matter of time before grocery stores start accepting it. In fact, I saw a video that Walmart is already allowing it.
I'm Afterpay's #1 consumer, #1 fan. If I'm buying something online and it's over $300, especially if it's for me, like a mom purchase, I will Afterpay it because I feel less guilt.
It also provides instant gratification. Now, people no longer feel compelled to save up enough money to pay in cash for anything they want to purchase because they feel like, oh yeah, I can just Afterpay it. I can just put it on Klarna and pay in 4 installments. Typically, before you make any purchase, you would have to save up for it. But now that there is Afterpay, there's Klarna, there's a lot of them, you find that you just go ahead and just make the purchase instantly, instant gratification. Some days you're feeling down and you're unmotivated or lazy and you want to give yourself a little bit of retail therapy, but when you get to the store because you feel like, oh yeah, I can just pay in 4 installments, then you go ahead and buy, and you just don't even buy 1 or 2 items, you buy a whole lot just because it feels like you're only paying a small portion of it right now. The damage will be done for a long time, where you have to start paying up Afterpay after a long time. You are literally robbing your future self of money that you are supposed to be saving or investing for your future. So please be very, very careful with this. It is a loan and it should be treated as such. People tend to forget that Afterpay, Klarna, Pay in 4 are actually loan services. It might feel like it's not loan because you're not paying interest, but let me tell you what happens when you manage to miss one day of payment. One, you get charged up to 30% interest rate. You get charged late fees. It would also go on your credit and impact your score negatively. In the end, that item that you think that you are buying and splitting the cost into 4, and since it's interest free, would now add up and become over expensive than what you have actually planned for. Loans are usually used for bigger purchases, like you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to invest in a business, you want to buy a laptop. When you are doing all of that, are what people used to know that they get loans for. But these days, people are now getting Afterpay, which is also a form of loan, just for buying day-to-day items like fashion items, beauty items. These are not things that you cannot live without. They are things that you can absolutely survive without for the most part. And this is not me saying that Afterpay or all of these services do not have their own benefits. They do. However, there is a statistic that actually shows that a good percentage of people that use these services buy furnitures, they buy clothing items, they buy day-to-day stuff that they could literally do without. Using buy now, pay later services like this will lead to debt accumulation and eventually affect your finances. So if you are not someone that you are very good with your finances or you plan properly, you find that you start to accumulate and build up debt just because of these services that you have used. Next, it reduces your financial discipline. Buy now, pay later services goes against every budgeting rule out there. If you cannot pay for it in cash, then you can't afford it. If it's not in the budget, then don't buy it. But because now you have the option of using buy now, pay later, then you just feel like, oh yeah, I might just go for it. It reduces your financial discipline because now you are forced to do things that is not in the plan. Now you end up overspending. Now you end up buying things that you can't even afford. And lastly, there's a high chance of default payment. A survey showed that 33% of Americans have actually incurred late fees or missed a payment using buy now, pay later services. That's to tell you that 1 in 3 people are actually missing their payment, and that is how these companies make money. Another studies also show that 61% of the people within the age of 21 to 24 use buy now, pay later services. This is crazy because it is a trap to get people into debt at a very young age. You're literally at the point where you're trying to build your finances, you're trying to improve your financial skills and become more financially stable. But when you start incorporating services like buy now, pay later, you're buying something online, paying in full, paying in installments, not paying in full for things, then you mentally become used to the idea that you can pay for things in piecemeal. You don't have the financial discipline to save up to plan for whatever purchase you want to incur. At the same time, you stand a chance of missing a payment, which will in turn lead to high interest and high debt. So at the end of the day, what do you stand to gain here? If you cannot buy it, then just let it be. Whenever you save up the money, then you can buy it.
So I just realized that the official Louis Vuitton website allows you to check out using PayPal's pay later option, which is basically their version of a buy now, pay later service. If you're not familiar, it breaks up your payments into, I believe, 4 payments.
Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, it has some pros as well. It's not always bad and this and that. Yes, I get it. BNPL is not always bad. Absolutely. There are sometimes it can be very convenient or come very handy in emergency situation. But there has been research that shows that most people are actually not using buy now, pay later for emergency situations. Only very few percentage of them are. And most times people end up overspending. They end up using it for everyday expenses like buying a clothes, buying things that they could literally live without. So you see the problem here. The problem is not that these services cannot be used for emergency or they don't have its pros. It's just that for the most part, a huge percentage of people that use them for the wrong reason, and people don't realize the implications, the damages that these buy now, pay later services can do to you. It can affect your finances, it will cause financial stress, it would affect your credit score, you end up paying more. There's so much more that I can't even cover in this video, and I want to bring it to your attention. If you're someone that use buy now, pay later services, please be very, very mindful with your finances. Try as much as you can to pay them up and completely get rid of them. If you cannot pay for it right now, put it on your credit card, and when you get your next paycheck, you pay them off. Some people have this psychological mindset that when you use buy now, pay later services, it's better than credit card. It is absolutely not.
This is all I owe on Afterpay. Who can actually relate? Who still uses Afterpay? I mean, a lot of people do, which is bad. So my goal is pay this off pretty much by next week, and that's it. I'm going to cancel it because if I don't have the funds to spend my own money, why am I going to borrow somebody else's?
Unlike using a credit card, buy now, pay later service actually does not improve your credit score. Some people have this psychological mindset where they feel like, oh, if you use a credit card, it's loan, it's debt. But if you're using afterpay services or buy now, pay later, it is just you paying in installments. Honestly speaking, it's just end up being the same thing. But the downside is that using a credit card, it has its pros in the sense that it improves your credit score. If you pay on time, you don't pay interest and all of that. And the only con to using a credit card is if you don't pay on time, you also pay interest. However, with buy now, pay later services, they tell it doesn't even improve your credit score. So there's really no pro or help it's doing to your credit score. Instead, when you miss a payment, it goes on your credit. When you're even trying to get the afterpay services, they also do a credit check on you. So if you're thinking that it's quite different or it's better than using a credit card, you're lying to yourself. What do you think about issues like this? Do you think all retailers to continue to allow buy now, pay later services? Are there specific products that you think that should have buy now, pay later services, and the ones that you think it doesn't make sense for them? Let me know in the comment. I want to hear from you. Personally, I feel like there are some things that you should be allowed to pay in full or pay in installments. Things like buying a car, it makes sense. Things like if you're trying to get a new computer, laptop, or you're also trying to pay your rent. I know that the rent part might be because rent records every single month, right? And you might not want to split that into 4. However, these are some things that you are required to do. They are basic necessities. But using buy now, pay later services, for me personally, for fashion items, beauty items, I'm not in support of them. But let me know in the comments what you think. I want to really read from you. Am I thinking too deep? Leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.